Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can. So can we
Yeah,
start now?
thank you very much.
No
Extremely
problem.
very sorry that we missed it, and there was an internet connectivity issue. I was traveling on the other side. So let's start. We have lost time. Thank you very much for your patience. So disclaimer is that opinions are not affiliated with a representative of any organization, company, groups, and other individuals. So it's an independent analysis that I'm sharing with you. It's my thought of my experience that I learned in my 18 years through IBBPS. So you can also share your thoughts, and even we can discuss in different question answer session. You can share your ideas and suggestions that I will try to give a good presentation to you. Thank you. Please change the slide. So scope of discussion. So we are looking forward for Pakistan and across the globe. So we have to compete with our current scenarios and current issues, and then we come forward to the international global issues. So how we can grow in our country as an organization. If you wishes to grow your career, you have to grow your organization. If your organization grow, you automatically grow. So if the country grow, you can grab the international market. Please change the slide. So a reality check. 7 out of 10 days are avoidable. Regulators reject weak science, not products. Predictable deficiency cause predictable delay. Here is a question is that multiple time we submit some answers, some query response to draft, and we thought that we provided some good interpretation of documents, some answers that are very keen that we thought that they are fulfill our requirements, the regulatory requirements, but unfortunately we are not taking science. We just putting the ideas, we just putting some thoughts and some expertise. So things are changing, as we know that the regulatory and the guidelines and directions of the world has been changed. So even the draft has transformed from paper to paperless environment. They are thinking about the adaptation of FDA. They are thinking about adaptation of WHO. So they believe in science. So we have to adopt them. If we adopt these thoughts, then we can move forward. Please change the slide. That's the part one, national regulatory. That's Pakistan. A draft key regulatory frameworks, as you know, most of them you are belongs to working in a draft in regulatory environment. So you know about the current. We have a Drug Act that's called the Drug Act 1976, Drug Act 2012, Biostudy Rules 2017, Pharmacovigilance Rules 2022, and draft CTD guidelines. So the evolution, I wishes to share some thoughts about you. Once Pakistan got independence, he adopted the regulatory framework of inherent that inherent from the British Empire. So we adopted the same guidelines, same thoughts, same rules and regulations that was prepared by the British rulers for their Britain operated countries, including the Pakistan. So we get independence in 1947. So we adopted the same regulation. So after the you can say at the once the Constitution of Pakistan implemented 1973. So in 1976, first drug act was implemented. So after that, so many rules and regulations adopted in this. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah, I get some messages that we can't hear you. So after the 1973, the first drug act was adopted in 1976. So different rules comes like labeling rules, the specifications rules, some other rules. So after the adaptation, as you know that in 2009 there was 18 amendment. So the devolution of Ministry of Health and because and evolution of DRAP in Pakistan. So the DRAP Act was evolved. So it was adopted in 2012. Then we adopted different rules like HOTC rules, like the medical devices rules, and we are moving toward the pharmacovigilance. That's very important. So we are adopting the pharmacovigilance tools and CTD guidelines that we are discussing at the moment. So CTD guidelines that was implemented in SRO 713 in 2029, 2019. Next. Really, you first. That's a very important question. If you if you work with the regulators, if you have a one hand experience with the regulators, what he's thinking, how he's working, he's just like us. He get a degree from the same institution that we earned. They have the same thoughts, but they believe in the science. So regulators, their priorities are the CMC depth. That's a chemistry manufacturing control. It doesn't depends upon the volume that you have multiple documents, irrelevant documents that are called miscellaneous documents. We put in a file and then said these are the documents that were very important. We have conducted these kind of studies and these kind of matters. So the relevant things that they need the CMC and the bioequivalence credibility. That's number second. So number third is data consistency across CTD, applicant regulatory maturity. So sometimes I saw many, if you go through the meeting minutes that the DRB is still today a meeting is going to be held in RAP to 353. So they believe in the documents that shows you credibility. The documents should be uh, should be very credible. So the document should represent their thoughts. They should be reflect to the science, and their reflection should be as per the requirements of the regulator or the guidelines they have adopted. Next. Now, the common administrative deficiencies, as you know, the incorrect and incomplete application forms. As you know, we have a module one where we put incomplete information. Sometimes we haven't any section, we haven't any information about the document. So we put incorrect information in the module one. We have some sort of other documents. Uh, Most of people are saying, okay, I have to use the Urdu.
As you like, sir. आप जिसमें comfortable हैं और जिसमें audience comfortable है.
I'm comfortable in both. I'm comfortable. I like that audience should be aware about this session. Today our session is to give the information that how we can grow. My wish is that we compete with our neighboring countries regulators, regulatory agencies, and the person who are working in the regulatory. So I wish that someone earn the information and get information and get a lot information that we can compete and go abroad. So some sort of other jobs. So come to the point, common administrative deficiencies, incorrect and incomplete application form, expired or non-legalized CPP and GMP. Sometimes we have seen these kind of discrepancies in our imported data. We get we submit the data without the CPP. We submit the data of expired GMP. So there is a common error that I have seen multiple times. The manufacturer and they are manufacturing in one side and they are packing at the other side. There are the mismatches in the manufacturer information. So sometimes we submit the missing undertakings, we lack it, And sometimes that CTD format non-compliance. As per the requirements, we skip some major points and then submit our dossiers and all. Then once the regulator asks the queries, we worried about how they are asking, why they are asking, multiple they are asking. They seek the answers from your side. So these are the administrative deficiency that we have seen in the module 1 on a CTD dossiers. Next. Why Pakistan pharma approvals get delayed? There's a big question here. We are knowing about this. I work with many countries and submit the dossiers over there. Many people think about that we submit the dossiers and dossiers should be approved. So 65 to 75% delay due to the CMC and BE deficiencies. Sometimes we believe that we conduct the BE studies from a site which is not recognized, which have no credibility, and even someone provides the fabricated data and we submit that data to the regulatory agency. So the regulators can easily find out the data and easily find out the things. Still, I experienced that CMC, if it comes to the uh, even in Far East countries, you easily find the CMC that we have submit over there. So we submit some irrelevant documents and that irrelevant documents leads to the delay. And 20 to 25% due to the administrative gaps. That's a very basic question. So we didn't understand the guidelines in a proper way. We didn't understand how we submit the data, what should be format. It's like I can share a example that sometimes we put on a logo in a country, that we put in a logo of WHO, we put in a logo of other regulatory agencies, we put in a logo of DRAP. That's not allowed because logo is identity of that organization, and if organization allow you, then you can use that logo. So we use some basic things in our documents. Even we make some we put some colors, we put some separators in documents that cause the major delay, because majority of documents that reflects that we have some bad things. Impression is bad. If your impression is not good, it delays your process. Next. Quality CMC deficiencies, weak pharmaceutical development. That's come to the module 3. Inadequate process validation. Sometimes we didn't submit the process validation protocol, and sometimes we missed the reports. And insufficient stability data as required by the DRAP is 4A zone. Improper specification justification, that specification didn't match if the pharmacopoeia product is there. So where our justification should be matched. So we missed some tests, skip the test without any justification. And batch inconsistency, as you've seen in previous some meetings, that DRAP pointed out that you have even they have circulate advisory that the batch size should be at this level. So we missed it. Sometimes we put some release batches and we just didn't justify these batches. कि हम ये भी नहीं कर सकते कि उनको कुछ स्टेशंस के ऊपर वी हैव टू जस्टिफाई देम कि these patches are very relevant, the stability studies are fulfilling the requirements. So these things leads to the deficiencies, and this kind of planning leads to the dossier rejection. Even you select the batch, if even you import the material and prepare the batch, if you import the less material, you prepare the less batch size, and leads to the rejection of your dossier. Next. Next. Now comes to the CMC weakness. Regulators instantly detect. Like some of the major question is that no QBD, quality by design based development logics, as I previously mentioned. आपने you didn't adopt the latest updates, like latest guidelines, the QBD design. So we just start the things without any planning, strategy, no designing, no work, no guidelines. So sometimes I saw in previous meeting minutes that a company who submit stability of around 600 tablets, and there, it was not justified how many stations it put for the testing purpose. So it was not justified. So they had given the chance to the manufacturer that 3 to 4 times, multiple times, they asked the questions, but the manufacturer, regulatory person, didn't satisfy to the regulator. That's the weakness. So weak impurities control strategy, stability, data, shortcuts. Sometimes even I saw many places in our previous meetings. Sometimes we submit the data which is manipulated. So a good regulator, even the regulator from the draft, they have a vast knowledge. They get good information, so they can easily find the shortcuts, how the company is taking these steps, and how shortcuts are being adopted by the company. So there is a scientific gaps detected early by the reviewers. So sometimes you come to start the dossier evaluation. In starting, there is a checklist. You can easily find some gaps in easy way. Next. Now come to the case study, as I previously mentioned in my previous slides, and we also discussed that case study, as we discussed, different companies, registration boards, product has been deferred. So the major things that I saw in that meeting minutes, that the pharmaceutical development copied, no discriminatory dissolutions, insufficient stability data. So lesson is that science passes, template fails. Sometimes we put some uh, hundreds of pages and hundreds of data, and then elaborate the data in different way. If someone is asking about some test, their justification, their trailing, and their compliance, so we bypass these things and submit irrelevant things. If you're asking about our products is 25 mg, we are submitting 50 mg. So these are the things that leads to the deferment of your case in draft. Next. A bioequivalence and biosafety deficiency, non-compliant B protocol, use of non-approved CRO, as we have seen that we adopt CROs, and we wishes to pass our B study. Even I say, if you adopt a good CRO, as I appreciate the DAO team, they have conduct webinar with one of the leading person, a vice president from Indonesia, who running the CRO company. So if you adopt a CRO that are accredited by some uh, well-known authorities, like DOV has an accredited CRO. We have multiple CROs that has been approved by the draft. So these CROs, we have to submit the data in other countries for the export purpose. We get easily the registration. So missing ethical approvals, as you know, the ethics committee were there, their approval should be required. Sometimes we submit the CRO, the B study, the approval is not there. The dates are not matched. Sometimes we start the protocol, we start the B study, and then get the approvals from the ethics committees that reflects that this is a fabricated data we have prepared in our own on laptop, not in a lab. So statistical deficiencies, incomplete bioanalytical validations. These are the missing point that comes to the bioequivalence. Next. Bioequivalence are silent approval killers. Sorry, the CRO acceptability ignored, protocol copied instead of customized, study failed to prove equivalence. As I have seen in my previous experience, sometimes if you ask about some new indications, new drugs, like I discussed the matter with a CRO. It was based in other country, so he hasn't any information about the inhalers, how we conduct, how we develop the protocol, how we conduct the studies. So he gave some sort of information that we conduct this kind of study. So I believe, as per my expertise, so it comes to my mind that he hasn't any information like to how to conduct the BE studies. So these kind of people you can easily find. If you have an thoughts, you have a study, you have a good knowledge, you can easily find them. These people, it comes around in your circle. So they can misguide you. Even they can provide, if you paid the lot of money and then provide the documents, and once you submit the documents on these respects, that it will be rejected by the authorities, even in Pakistan, abroad. So these are the silent killers that rejects your application. A huge amount of your application, your dossiers, your time, everything has been killed. Next. Labeling and artwork deficiencies, that comes to the draft non-compliance with the labeling rules that we have in the labeling rules 1986. We adopt sometimes and sometimes we miss, and that leads to the misbranding, non-approved claim. Sometimes the product is RRA, that we call it as a film coated or uncoated. So we put, it's like you can methycobalamin, it's a sugar coated as be approved by the Japanese pharmacopoeia. So sometimes we saw the companies who are selling on a film coated, and sometimes some companies who submit the artworks and their dossiers and label claim that's a film coated, and then RRA and some labeling compliance that reject this application in administrative modules like English Urdu mismatch. Sometimes we interpret in a bad way that Urdu, sometimes we interpret the Urdu version of English. Sometimes we miss the warnings. Sometimes you see the red box warning, black box warning for the some medications we missed it. So artwork inconsistency also leads to the your trouble, and then it leads to the delay. Next. One thing I missed in the previous slide, that it's optional at the moment, but if you comes to the market, if you adopt these things, it reflects to your export. And we discuss in export that once you submit the artwork in your dossiers, it reflects to the finalization to the marketing of your product in that country. So fastest reason for the rejection, labeling and the CPP. CPP legalized errors. Sometimes we have legalized issue that we didn't legalize from respective authorities, and sometimes there is, as you said, that the foreign office has some made a rules for waivers for the legalization for those countries who are adopted a charter. SMPC copied without the localization. We put some. Can you hear me? There is a SMPC copied without the localization, batch formula inconsistency. Sometimes we put in a formula in our CPP that is inconsistent to the registration letter. And sometimes we claim the SMPC in a different way. So these are the documents that integrate with each other, and that reflects to rejection. If we submit it, it get in a cost. The legalization has a highest cost. So if we, and our time spending process, so these legalization and these issues leads to the rejection of your dossiers. Next. That's a very interesting pharmacovigilance deficiencies, as the drug is adopting quickly the pharmacovigilance. The missing local QPPV, as DRAB is sending the letters to the company that you have to nominate your QPPV. Still, you can see the one of the most stringent pharmacovigilance system has been adopted by the Punjab government, since is going to be adopted. So things are changing. Even I saw yesterday there is a veterinary pharmacovigilance module is to be adopted, and it is under discussion. So we have an herbal, pharmaceuticals and medical devices pharmacovigilance, and new thing is coming that the veterinary products pharmacovigilance. So incomplete PV system documents, delayed ADR reporting, that leads to very disastrous situation. Weak risk minimization that we adopted, and it leads to sometimes you submit your data in other countries that ask these multiple questions that what is your QPVV, what is your PV system, what are the system you have adopted in your country. So these are the system that leads, if you adopt here, that leads to enhance your export and minimize your deficiencies. Next. That's part two, international. We have quickly complete the session because we lost a lot of time. I do apologize. So please next. So these are the countries there where the Pakistan is exporting their products at the moment. Majority that most of companies are exporting their products. In Asia, we are the counterpart. Afghanistan, it has been closed last 3 months. We have in Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Philippines, Sri Lanka, Thailand, and Vietnam. We comes to the Central Asian Commonwealth countries. That's Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan. When it comes to the South America, Peru is there. Guatemala recently, few companies, I think 2 or 3 countries has started their business. Now the more countries they are exploring, and Ghana in Africa and Ivory Coast and some other well-known African countries are over there. And Pakistan has started. It's a good sign that we have started the Iraq, Qatar, Bahrain. Some companies are entering to these territories. So the Pakistan directly sending our goods, the pharma products to these countries, but we are also exporting through other channels that to other countries in not in a regulated way. So we can say that we these are the countries who are regulated and we are sending in a proper channel, and some other countries that we are sending with other channels. So in East Africa, West Africa, so lots of countries over there we are exporting at the moment. Next. Administrative deficiencies comes to the you can say the Pakistan. If Pakistan has adopted the CTD, the same thing is there. We are also moving to the ECTD. We are submitting the paperless in draft. So if we learn from the draft, then we can easily learn from the international market. So the deficiencies we have, I have seen in my previous experience that incorrect CTD, ECTD structures. Sometimes if it comes to the Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand, these countries have a you can say ACTD, EACTD that's adopted. So we put in data. If you put incomplete data in our module 1, then the whole process has been hold. So ECTD doesn't mean you submit the dossier and then they generate the deficiency. So ECTD, you have Xtredo, some other softwares who provides the expertise over there. So ECTD is very complicated as compared to CTD. As we know, the CTD comes from the M4 and ECTD for the M8 for the ICH guidelines. So if we submit these incomplete structure, incomplete data, skip some main things, that leads to the rejection in administrative side. Inconsistent module 2 summary, missing legalized documents. Sometimes we submit CPP without legalized from the draft, poor deficiency response. So that's administrative deficiencies also lead to the rejection of your dossier in an international market. Next. Export shocks, draft approval, global acceptance, African authorities rejection, Zone 4B stability missing, no risk management plans. As you've seen in the last, you can say that the DRV meeting is going to be held. I saw the draft is also adopting the risk management plan to be implemented to the companies. So these are the things, if you adopt them, then we can get some product registration in a quick way. These minor changes, minor things, minor data leads to the sometimes if you submit the data as countries in Africa, if country is Peru, if country is Azerbaijan, we submit the data, the stability data that has been adopted and submitted in draft. That's lead to the rejection because their stability zones are different. So these things are very important that we have to adopt them. If we didn't understand the guidelines, what they are required, how we can interpret in a good way, that leads to rejection. And if you adopt these things, that lead to the approval of your product. Uh, in my belief, as I learned in my experience, submit a dossier is not achievement. If you execute and get an approval in a timely manner, that leads to a very positive thing. Even in your career, you learn a lot. Even in your organization, they appreciate you. Even you get an approvals, you get much more chance to enhance your things. Next. So once comes to the case study in Africa, that WHO, we do zone 4B stability. It was missing as per the requirement, the ICH-Q3 non-A compliance and no RMP submitted by a firm to the regulatory agency. So we learn a lesson from here. If we submit a proper documents in a regulatory agency, that can leads not to the approval that authority, we can also get approval from other authorities. If your dossier is as per the requirement of one African country, then you leads to the multiple African countries who are adopting the CTD. So if your documents is good as per the requirement of one country, that leads to be submitted to other country. Just change the module 1 of your administrative documents, rest of thing will be same. Might be sometimes you change the stability zone, but if you have a stringent, if you have a stress stability, some of other stabilities, so you can get approvals in a quick way. So one dossier in one CTD, IACTD, you can submit about 40 countries in a one go. So a global case study. Uh, Previous slide, please. Global case study for the CIS, as you know, the Commonwealth countries, the Central Asian countries, where we missed to submit the QBD design development. They every time ask about the QBD design, they focused on the QBD design, but the most of the companies from our side, we missed it because we haven't any information how to submit that, what should be the design, as we missed the pilot scale validation only 9 to 12 months approval delay. So sometimes we submit the data that stability has not been completed. We submit the data without any stability, like we have an accelerated stability. We haven't any 12 months of stability studies for our real time. So sometimes the regulatory agencies reject your application because and put in your queue, that leads to delay your approval because they wishes to get the stability as per the requirements. And once the time frame has been come, then they take your application and it delays your approval, leads to the 9 and 12 months, leads to the 24 months and so on. Next. Global case study, ASEAN, as you know about it. Some ASEAN countries are also asking around the BE study, like Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia. So they are asking about the BE studies. Sometimes if it comes to the Vietnam, they have an stringent. Sometimes it comes to the Philippines, they ask about the BE studies. And for the oral solid dosage form, they especially ask about it. So the BE studies, sometimes they adopt your application, your dossier is good, everything is fine, but you haven't calculated the risk that a regulator can ask the B study because you didn't study the molecule intensity, that it leads to the B study requirements. So only one point leads to your rejection of your application, your dossiers from the authority, just because of one point. And they ask about to conduct the you conduct the B study from the very worthy organization. So it will lead to the cost, and sometimes cost lead to the rejection. So many multiple things you have to adopt them and keep in your mind that before submission of dossier, you have a risk management plan, how we can minimize these things, what molecules we have to adopt it. Someone asked about the BA study, so how we can apply it and in a time. So these are the things, and not incurred sample reanalysis, weak deviation handling that raised by some regulators who comes and asks about these things. Next. Now, very important thing that we just submit the dossiers without reviewing the DMF and the API. Like I heard multiple, I saw multiple time in DRB or other regulatory agencies. They ask about the vendor qualification. What is your relationship with the vendor or the manufacturer of drug manufacturer supply? Sometimes we submit the DMF, which is about 10 to 15 years old. If we are submitting the application in 2025 and we are submitting the DMF of 2014. So these kinds of things leads to some rejection. Even the stability study in DMF, we didn't check it and submit. Sometimes the manufacturer claims that the API shelf life is 5 years, and we submit the stability of 2 years. So, and the stability zones, and sometimes the discrepancies in stability. Sometimes we have submitted the DMF at that time, it was non-compendial, and today it is compendial. So we have to think these things in our mind. So, incomplete DMF, missing genotype, genotoxicity, impurities evaluation, retest period not justified in a good way, and pharmacopoeial misalignments. These are the major deficiencies we seen in our previous submissions. Next. Now we come to the previous one. Now come to the regulatory intelligence gap, outdated guidelines, no trend tracking, poor life cycle management. These are the regulatory gaps I has already mentioned in my previous discussion, that we didn't make a map before submission. I wishes to uh, share a thought that regulatory is the brain, and it's represent your company, it's represent your thoughts, it represent your company structure, your documentation, its credibility, everything. So you are the custodian who is representing not your company but your country as well. So the regulatory is dealing with all aspects. So if we submit the dossier without getting the intelligence gap, outdated guidelines, no trend tracking, poor life cycle management, these things leads to some sort of bad impression, and leads to the rejection of not only our company dossiers, but also leads to some bad impression to our country, that these peoples have no understanding. They just submit the dossiers without any interpretation, any guidelines review, any misleading things. So we have to be careful about this one. Next. RA shift from submission to the strategy. Now we are uh, one of the people who are looking these transformation. As I started my career at that time, we started like we submit the dossiers in hard copies, even in draft. But things has been changed. We are changing the things. So we are transformation looking in a draft with the transformation, also looking to other side, the old module we just compile and then submit. That was the strategy. We started from the form 5 to submit a draft. Sometimes we adopt the regulatory submission in a way that just adopt the guidelines, that the country specific guidelines. Now things are changing. We are moving towards a new phase, like new models anticipate, align, and then we have to defend our dossiers. Not to be anticipate, align, we have to defend. If your science is good, you have a brave and thoughts in your documents, that we are dealing with, we are following the guidelines as per the international regulatory agencies, so we can easily defend them. Next. How to avoid approval delay. Next. How to avoid approval delay, early regulatory strategy, internal mock review, cross-functional coordination, strong document control, and then one of the major things, that's the regulatory intelligence. Sometimes we submit the dossiers, we don't know about the guidelines. We adopt and prepare the dossiers as per the previous guidelines. So we are not aware the latest guidelines to be submitted in the authorities. That leads to the delay, leads to some sort of your rejection. So these are the major points which leads to our delay in the approval of your product, and it leads to, if product is not approved in that country, you can't market in that country. So you have to keep these things in your mind. If you overcome these things, you can easily register your product and easily market your product. Next. Regulatory readiness model winning formula. Design your CMC like the chemistry manufacturing control. You have a good interpretation of your module 3, module 1 that reflects to the module 2. Summary of characteristics, you can say the QoS, quality overall summary, that you have to align BE study. Either the authority is asking about the BE study, either this molecule needs to be BE study, a bio study is to be good to be submitted or be adopted by or be approved by the regulatory agency. So the deficiency trend intelligence, quality driven submissions, these are the things that if we adopt these things, we can easily grab and we can market our product in that country, and we can be our first mover if we adopt these things before starting, before designing, before finalizing the API, we can adopt this thing. So we can easily get registration from that country. Next, key takeaways. Most delay are preventable. That CMC and BE are the major cause. Accuracy is critical. Sometimes we didn't follow the accuracy. We plotted in, as we seen in analytical method validations, in some sort of chromatograms where we missed something. We plotted. We used the same chromatograms, and chromatograms is showing something. We missed the impurities, data analysis, some other matters we skip it, and we thought that regulators are not aware about to ask these things. That leads to some trouble, that leads to your delay. So we have to adopt the proactive planning speeds approval. So if we adopt the proactive approach, we can easily approve our products in that country. Next. So come to the final conclusion, regulatory delays are avoidable with proactive planning, science-driven dossier shorten timelines, quality and strategy is accelerate global approval.
यार आपने तो मीटिंग तो लिया था मीटिंग तो नहीं हुई ये वॉशरूम जाने से पूछा था
Next. So finally conclusion, build quality into those years, anticipate regulator expectation, and approval will follow. So now open for the question answer session. So you can ask the questions if you have, but I think we have a disclaimer that we are not taking anything in respect to the organization authority. So we are independent I will surely to answer independently, not in behalf of an organization or any other thing.
If anyone want to ask questions, please आप लोग chat box में लिख सकते हैं. And thank you so much, Dr. Jibran. It was very impressive and very thorough presentation. You actually have covered all the questions that I prepared for you to ask. So actually, I don't have any question right now to ask you, but I just want to ask you that one thing, that how do you think that a regulatory officer professional can have sufficient technical knowledge? If we have the early career regulatory professional right now with us, so they would like to know that how can they improve their technical knowledge?
I think if we start from the beginning, that I am also teaching
Mhm. Dr. Jibran, am I audible to you?
मैं तो दे दे रहे हैं यार ना जो
things. We have to aware these things. So if we aware, if we aware India, these countries, these people adopted some things that they bring some knowledge to the students during their studies. So they are focused to offer for the ICH guidelines, for the WHO guidelines, for other stringent regulatory authorities, what they are doing, how they are adopting, what new guidelines are coming, how we can adopt them. If we adopt these things, then we compete to these people. So these regulatory agencies wishes to get some latest sites from your site. So if you are updated, then you can easily compete with them.
Definitely, sir. So we have one question from Mr. Bassam. How we can get updated dossier guideline for different countries?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. You can adopt, you can get the updated in
Hello.
guidelines from you can get you can get the updated guidelines from different regulatory agencies websites. They have placed their updated guidelines over there. Sometimes if you comes to the country where you have making a signature, making a line with a distributor, he also provides you related guidelines. Because sometimes if country just like Morocco, if it comes to that country, there is a guideline in language that you can't interpret in Arabic. So if you come to the Iraq, if you comes to the other countries where the guidelines in purely in other language like Peru, they have adopted the Spanish guidelines, the Spanish language they use. So you can't interpret in easy way. So the distributor can provide you the updated version, the interpreted version. Sometimes in you comes to the Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, they have a Russian language. So if you get an information from your distributor, via your information from distributor, he will provide you the English version that can be easily understood. And sometimes you can easily get from the regulatory agencies websites that's easily available. And sometimes if you comes to the LinkedIn, the many people over there, they are working, they are also part of the regulatory agencies or regulators. So they can easily provide you the updated one because they are living in that country. And sometimes they ask from you that they need some guidelines from Pakistan. So you can provide in vice versa.
Hello.
Yes, miss.
Uh, Sumna Arif wants to ask, would you like, we would like to know in detail about the bio waivers.
Yeah, sometimes we submit bioviewers in Institute of BE studies. It depends on the bioequivalence requirements. So if you have a good thoughts that this product is not falling for the BE studies, so we can submit the bioviewer. So if you have a good interpretation and you know about the all aspects of your molecule, then you can easily defend. As I said, the science, it depends upon the science, and you know the every dynamics of your molecule, then you can submit, you can get information from different aspects, and then you can defend your case in that country.
Okay, sir. I think we have another question. Some countries required formulation will be same as innovator if formulation is not equal. Although firm have stability data, but approval is challengeable. So what is the possible way to resolve this issue?
Can you please repeat it? Some countries.
Yes, sure. Um, some countries required formulation will be same as innovator. If formulation is not equivalent with innovator, although firm have stability data, but approval is challengeable. So what is the possible way to resolve this issue?
No, I haven't seen this kind of thing in my past experience that the formulation is as per the innovator. Uh, if you depends upon the P pattern that the product should be as per the innovators, some parameters like the innovator. But if you comes to the very stringent country where you have break the patent laws and rules, then there comes some trouble. Even if you comes to the FDA, like EMA, like European countries, where this problem has to become the formulation to as per the innovators, and you have to break the patents, then it comes some sort of problems. Otherwise, if you comes to the those markets we are exporting at the moment where this kind of things not challengeable, we can easily compete with them.
Okay, sir, we have another question from Imad Khan. Please explain the regulatory needs of cosmetic products to develop and market in Pakistan in Urdu.
Okay. रेगुलेटरी नीड्स कॉस्मेटिक प्रोडक्ट्स की आपकी जो पाकिस्तान के अंदर अब बहुत सारे इंस्टीट्यूशंस पाकिस्तान में अब इस पे अपने कोर्सेज भी करवा रहे हैं। और इस वक्त पाकिस्तान में पंजाब ने इस पे एक बाकायदा एक एसआरओ भी इशू किया है, और इस पे गाइडलाइंस उनकी प्रिपेयर हो गई हैं। ड्रैप की मेडिकेटेड कॉस्मेटिक्स के ऊपर ऑलरेडी यू नो कि वो मेडिकेटेड कॉस्मेटिक्स जो मेडिकल डिवाइसेस के अंदर डील हो रही हैं वहाँ पे भी है। और हर्बल या फार्मास्यूटिकल्स के साथ एक कॉस्मेटिक डिविजन्स की कुछ चीज़ें अंडर प्रोसेस हैं, फ्लोट हैं, अथॉरिटीज़ और पॉलिसी बोर्ड्स में अंडर डिस्कशंस हैं। तो इन रिसेंट कमिंग मंथ्स माइट बी वी सी कि इस तरह की एक चीज़ कॉस्मेटिक को कंट्रोल करने के लिए, क्योंकि पाकिस्तान में बिल्कुल डीरेगुलेटेड है कॉस्मेटिक्स, और जो बहुत ही लीथल है। समटाइम्स उसके जो रेशो हैं, टॉक्सिसिटीज़ है, बहुत सारे ऐसे एस्पेक्ट्स हैं जो इवन आई से कि फार्माकोविजिलेंस इसके बाद उस पर देखा जाएगा कि उसके इम्पैक्ट्स क्या आ रहे हैं। तो लोगों को पता ही नहीं चलता कि वो क्या यूज़ कर रहे हैं, कैसे यूज़ कर रहे हैं, उनका क्लेम क्या है, उसमें क्या क्वांटिटी है, उसकी टेस्टिंग कैसे होगी। सो दीज थिंग्स टू बी ऑन फ्लोर, और दिस इज अंडर डिस्कशन, इवन इट इज अंडर डिस्कशन इन पंजाब, कि पंजाब एक स्टेप आगे है, ड्रैप उसमें काम कर रहा है। तो इंशाल्लाह इन कमिंग डेज वी हैव दिस काइंड ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन।
Okay, sir. Uh, we have another question. If the stability batches and process validation batches are different, is it acceptable since most of the international regulatory bodies recruit recent stability data?
Yeah, if you haven't aligned these things, it is good. But if it comes to the stringent regulatory authorities, where everything has been trailed and follow the trailing of your all QBD design and your product design, so they follow the stability process validation leads to the stability. But if it comes to those countries where not stringent at the moment, so we can submit the stability data as per the requirement and different process validation data. But this thing is are going to be minimized. I think they are not allowing because they have a consistency of your data.
Okay, sir. We have another question. Enlist the software through which ECTD dossier can make.
There's a lots of software that one of the most prevalent software is XTDO. They also conduct some demos. I saw a question over there. They wishes to get an ECTD, so they can easily arrange demo for the students who wishes to get information of ECTD submission. I took ECTD dossier submission. I have the privilege to submit it, so I can next time, inshallah, I will deliver the lecture on it. So ECTD, the FRAIR, some other companies who are offering this kind of, you can say the softwares for the submission.
बिल्कुल सर, थैंक यू। और फिर लास्ट हमारे पास क्वेश्चन आया है आरिफ हुसैन से। Describe the difference between international CTD and local CTD requirement, specifically with respect to the pharmaceutical development section.
Yeah, that's very interesting. One thing that we focused on the BE studies, we are lacking. We sometimes TAP has issued the circular, you can say the advisory that these molecules to be submit with the BE studies. So new molecules that has to be submitted with the BE study. So at the moment, we are partially implementing the BE study on molecules. If you come across the globe, they are asking the BE study as per the all requirements, and if it B study is required, you have to submit it.
Okay. Another question is that how can we make neutral dossier even draft guideline is insufficient for that guide us?
How we can make neutra dossier? Even draft
Yes,
guidelines
even is insufficient.
No, I think one thing I wishes to share here, DRAP is adopting the things in a way. If he adopts all the things, they are adopting in a partial way. If you adopt these things in a one go, it will be trouble for the industry, for the regulatory persons. So they are adopting in a way. Recently, they are working to change the guidelines for the SR 412. So they are changing it. So things are moving to next step. So DRAP is changing the patterns, DRAP adopting the gray area, solving the gray area issues of molecules. So lots of things over there they are adopting and then implementing, because we are in the transition phase. If you adopt the things in a hurry and in a first go, then it will creates a trouble for us. So that's the minimum.
Okay, sir. Last last question is that how CMC based activities can become a hindrance in data approval.
Yeah, if your data is not integrated with your all aspects, like as we mentioned, the stability data, process validation data, pharmaceutical equivalence data, PE data, and then moves to the specification, AMV, like your packaging components, that's all to be integrated. And that also reflects to this your DMF. So every data has to be synchronized and to be integrated, that if someone asks one thing from your side, that can be answered by other side. So every answer should be available in your documents, in your dossiers. That leads to minimize your hindrances.
Okay, I think that would be all from the participant side.
Thank you.
Anyone want to ask anything else? I think, okay, we got one more. If a product is developed before the implementation of CTD format and is commercialized here in Pakistan, now we now wish to export it, but we do not have pharmaceutical and formulation data as per CTD. How can we deal with it?
We have to develop it, because the person who is asking from other side, he also wishes to know each and everything, because you have gotten a chance to get product approval as per the form 5 at that time, where the CTD was not there before the 2019. So if you comes to the other countries, he requires anything, you have to develop it and then submit it, because he didn't ask when you develop it, when it he just know about the data and its integrity.
Okay, so please arrange one more session with Dr. Jibran on CTD dossier. Definitely, we are looking forward for that. Hopefully, Dr. Jibran, we can have your time once more in
Inshallah.
future.
Inshallah. I enjoyed a lot, and
Yes.
I'm very thankful.
Same here, sir. It was very informative.
Thank you very much. Inshallah, we will connect next time. And sorry for the inconvenience that has to be made from my side. So, as you know, the internet issue is going on in Pakistan since last many months. So we are facing it, and we are adopted it.
That's totally fine, sir. These are the glitches we normally face, so it's okay. Don't need to apologize. But thank you so much for sharing your valuable insight and a real world experience. And looking forward for have another session with you, inshallah. And thank you so much for all the participants for joining today's webinar. I think that would be all.